But did you see what happened in Mar-a-Lago?
No.
Okay, so he invites Trudeau to Mar-a-Lago. I've been there a couple times, loved it. It's like the most amazing, most gilded, ornate, beautiful place I've ever been in. He invites him there, and they're in the major ballroom there. And at some point, he slides him an envelope. Okay? Zelensky took that envelope back to Toronto. Okay? He goes to Toronto. He announces his resignation from the party leader, as the party leader.
Oh, wow.
And the prime minister.
This is the first time I'm hearing this story.
But Trump also handed envelopes to all the former presidents and the first ladies at President George Bush Sr.'s funeral. And you can see Jeb Bush open this envelope, and he goes, looks with horror. What was that about?
Yeah, that I remember, the envelopes, yeah.
You guys will have to pull up those clips.
Where Mr. Tom, can you pull up the clip where Trudeau is handed an envelope? I mean, I've seen the one at the church, at the funeral.
Yep, at the National Cathedral.
Yeah, where Michelle didn't show up. She refused to show up, Michelle Obama.
I think she was there at that one, wasn't she?
No,
at George Bush Sr.'s. You were thinking about Carter's, right? Jimmy Carter's.
That was Carter, excuse me. That was Carter. Not,
it's okay, we
right.
forget sometimes.
You're right. That's right, we do forget. You just made my point. But do you think the next 4 years look vibrant, happy, stoic, under Trump? You think America is going to have its golden age, its glory days coming back?
I think that's all what we are dreaming for and hoping for. And I think if there's anybody capable of bringing that prosperity back to America and that common sense back to America, it's President Trump. And we're starting to see that. He federally recognized 2 genders. It's pretty simple. You're either born a male or a female. That's biological. And, you see a lot of these things. There's been kind of a rollback on all the woke. You see what I'm saying? But this is what I will say. The whole entire world is in chaos. And the reality is, though we had the best president we've ever had occupying the Oval Office, the fact of the matter is, in all these other countries, they don't have a Trump. Name one leader right now that compares to President Trump.
Javier Milei.
Javier, yep.
Javier Milei, he's under indictment, by the way. Right?
Yep.
Yeah, so Javier Milei was the, Latin America's Trump.
Yep.
And
Bolsonaro.
Bolsonaro in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw something else on the news. The former president of the Philippines. Do you remember the president where he said, if you see any drug dealer outside, you can shoot him? Mm-hmm. You remember him? Mm-hmm. He's under indictment as well. I think he got arrested by the government or something. But he was a Trump type of a president as well, but a little bit mindless for saying, incoherent things like that, where you can shoot anybody on the street because, you have a badge. But what I'm trying to say is that style of leadership is resonating with a lot of countries because everybody is economically broken. They are not hopeful. Mm-hmm. Hopelessness is on the rise every single country in the world.
You got Giorgia Meloni.
Who?
Giorgia Meloni, Prime Minister of Italy.
Yeah.
Yep, she's fantastic.
I don't know too much about her, but half of the world is resonating with that type of leadership, and that's what they're looking for. But I'm hoping that, Trump is very big on social issues. I hope he's very big in, the economy of this country. There are certain things that worry me, and I'll tell you later on why. One of them, the tariffs, because tariffs can also have an economic, hardship on this country. But besides that, he should have a better economic outlook for the country to, control the debt, control jobs, create a lot of jobs, make sure businesses are thriving, make sure businesses are coming back to the United States. Because at the end of the day, regardless of how much you and I and him care that there's 2 genders, if you can't support your family and put food on your table, you're not going to care about that.
Yep.
You're going to care that your children don't go home, at night sleeping with an empty stomach, which a lot of Americans unfortunately do.
The one thing I'm really watching him on, as a minister I run Alpha Numa Ministries. We're a nonprofit organization. We're based out of Iowa, but we're all over the world. And I'm getting ready to head into the Middle East. I was going to be going into Syria. That trip was canceled because of what's going on there now, but I'll be in other parts of the Middle East. I can't really go into that in detail. But I will say my concern, and one of the real reasons I got behind him, is because I knew he had like a national Coptic day. The Coptic Church is a sister church for to the Armenians. They're part of the Oriental Orthodox branch of churches, and they're the Egyptian Christians, right? So he had like a national Coptic day that he put in place when he was president in his first term. He stood up for Christians that were being persecuted. When those Christians were bombed in Egypt, he like took out the jihadists that did that, and like he stood up for Christians. And you see what he did with like the pro-lifers that were praying outside the Planned Parenthoods that were put in jail under the Biden administration. When he came back in, he released them, so he's been really good for Christian principles and for Christians, especially stateside. But this term, I'm really watching him closely on this issue, because this is the issue that's dearest to my heart, is my brothers and sisters around the world that are being persecuted and targeted. He made a bold statement on his Truth Social when he called out Kamala Harris and said that under Joe Biden's presidency and her vice presidency, 120,000 Armenian Christians were ethnically cleansed. Then he said something very bold. He said, when I become president, Christians all around the world are going to be protected and safer. That's kind of a bold statement to make. And if you're going to make that statement, you better back it up.